Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're digging into something pretty fundamental about AI, basically.
Uh,
Why these really sophisticated systems can sometimes mess up in ways that seem, well, surprising.
hmm
We've got some research insights here. Let's call it Understanding AI Limitations. That sort of highlights a couple of key reasons for this.
That's right.
And our aim today is really to get a better handle on these pitfalls and why you should probably be aware of them when you're thinking about AI.
Exactly. And this research really zeroes in on two main discrepancies. First off, there's this gap between what an AI learns from its specific training data
Okay.
and then the sheer unpredictability of the real world out there.
Right. The wild.
Yeah. And second, it looks at how an AI might misread new information because it's trying too hard to make it fit the patterns it already knows.
Okay, let's unpack that first one then.
Yeah.
This idea of local versus global understanding.
Hmm.
So the core concept, as I understand it, is that an AI becomes really expert at recognizing things within the data it was trained on. That's its local knowledge, right?
Precisely. It masters that specific data set. But then
And the real world happens.
exactly. The real world just throws all sorts of curveballs, different situations, variations it's never encountered.
And that's where things can go sideways.
That's the crunch point. If the AI is highly specific, local training hasn't prepared it for these, well, truly novel situations, it can just fail. It hasn't seen it, so it doesn't know what to do.
So, like the example they use, an AI trained on loads of cat pictures. Standard cat poses, sitting, sleeping, playing.
Yeah, the usual stuff.
But then it encounters a cat doing something totally weird. Maybe it's
Hanging upside down or half hidden by something
it
totally
so-
random.
and the AI might just miss it.
It might completely fail to identify it. Yeah. The research terms these false negatives. Basically, the AI fails to see something that to us is obviously a cat, and the root cause often is just that the training data wasn't varied enough. It didn't include enough examples of cats in bizarre, unexpected contexts.
It learned a limited definition of cat.
You could say that its local understanding didn't generalize globally.
Right. Okay, that makes sense. Now, what about the second issue? The one about patterns learned versus tested patterns.
Yeah, yes. So AI models are fantastic pattern detectors, right? They find correlations and regularities in their training data.
That's what they do.
But here's the catch. What if those patterns they learn are biased or maybe based on irrelevant details in that specific data?
Which is not universally true.
Precisely. So when new data comes along, data that maybe follows different rules or more general patterns,
The AI tries to apply its old rules.
it tries to fit that new information into the patterns it already learned, and that's where errors creep in because it's essentially forcing a square peg into a round hole.
Like the fox example in the research. If an AI is mostly trained on cats and dogs,
Yeah.
it might really struggle with a fox. It doesn't neatly fit cat or dog.
Exactly. It might try to classify it as, say, a strange-looking cat or maybe a skinny dog, instead of recognizing it for what it is, something distinct, something new.
And this leads to the opposite problem, false positives.
Correct. The AI makes an incorrect identification or classification. It's seeing its learned patterns where they don't actually exist in the new data.
So it's over-applying what it learned.
It's overgeneralizing. The patterns learned locally from the training set are being applied too broadly to global data where those specific rules just don't fit.
Okay, so wrapping this up a bit.
Yeah.
These two key points from the research, this difficulty generalizing beyond the training data, the local versus global issue,
Mm-hmm.
and this tendency to incorrectly apply old patterns to new information, the learned versus tested problem.
Yeah.
These are really important limitations to grasp, aren't they?
Absolutely crucial for you, the listener, to understand. Recognizing these potential blind spots helps you maintain a more realistic perspective on what AI can actually do right now.
Yeah, and where it might fall short.
Exactly. It helps you critically evaluate AI applications. And what's really fascinating is thinking about how these AI challenges sort of mirror our own human thinking sometimes.
How so?
Well, think about it. Have you ever encountered a completely new situation and found your past experiences, your local knowledge weren't quite enough to make sense of it?
Mm-hmm. Or maybe try to force new information to fit with beliefs you already hold, even if it doesn't quite line up.
Precisely. It's that same kind of struggle generalizing from limited experience or sticking rigidly to existing patterns.
That's a really interesting parallel. It suggests learning and understanding, whether it's silicon or neurons doing it, has these inherent challenges. Thanks, that was really clarifying.
My pleasure.
So, something for you to think about. The next time you encounter something truly unexpected, maybe pause and consider. Is your first reaction based on a limited local view? Or are you trying to make this new thing fit an old pattern you already know? Food for thought.